Today we're going to draw somebody that you're pretty excited about, I bet. I'm going to draw Santa. Okay, we're going to use regular Crayola crayons or whatever kind you have, and I'm going to use just regular copy paper that you use in your printer. Okay, we're going to start this picture in a place where a lot of good pictures start, and that is right in the middle. Right in the middle of your page. And we're going to start by drawing an oval that is about as big as a quarter. Except, of course, it's not round like a quarter. It's going to be an oval instead. So, right in the middle of your page, about the same size as a quarter, but flat, not round. We're going to make an oval. Color it in. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. Okay, now when we color it in, I'm going to try to get all those little white spots so that it's a nice solid red nose. Santa's nose would probably be red from riding in the sleigh in the cold, even though in some places it's not cold this Christmas. A lot of places it is, and he's got to travel all over the place Christmas Eve to see everyone. Okay, once you've done that, we're going to take a color for skin. Apricot is a good one if you have it, or sometimes it's called peach. There's one similar to it called peach. If you don't have apricot or peach, orange works okay. Just make sure that you do it very, very lightly, and use the regular orange, not the yellow orange. You do it very, very lightly, and it works just as good. You can also use brown for skin color. Darker or lighter, depending on what kind of skin you want. Okay. With whatever color you're going to use, we're going to make a U shape above the nose on one side like that. It's probably good for you to watch what I do and then do it. That way you have an idea before you actually start to do it. Okay, then on this side we're going to do the same thing, only in the opposite direction. Like that. So you have two U shapes. And then we're going to put a line on the bottom of each one like that. Next step, I'm going to use cerulean. If you have a cerulean, if you used a big enough box of crayons, cerulean is really pretty blue. If not, just use your regular blue or maybe blue green. And we're going to put another U inside of there like this. Now, inside of there, we're going to put a little box, a little slanting box like this. And you might say, what the heck? Why are we doing that? Well, I'm going to tell you in a minute. Okay, you can go ahead and color this in. Okay. Now, after you color that in, we're going to take and make a circle, but don't go inside that square. See, look, we're going to go right around that square with a circle, and color in the circle except for the square. And what that does is it makes that eye look like it's got a shiny spot on it. That's called a highlight. A highlight is just a little patch of light shining on something. And eyes are wet and shiny, so when you put a highlight on it, it just makes it look good. Let's see if I could find something for you to see, like my pencil sharpener. See where the light's shining on it? You see that? That's the shape of the light, really. But if you put a highlight on something, even though that's red, look, a big old spot of white, huh? Okay, so when something is shiny, like your eyes are wet, so they're shiny, and some light shines on it like that, it makes it look more real, makes it look pretty neat. Okay, so we got the eyes, we got the highlights. Okay, next thing we want to do is we're going to leave these. You might have noticed that on the original drawing, I had outlined these eyes with black. We're not going to do that right now because we don't want the black to get in the color when we color it in a little bit. So let's just, for now, we're going to leave it alone, and we'll outline it black later. All right, get your regular blue, the one that just says BLUE, and we're going to make a curve over each one of the eyes like that. Leave a little space and make a curve. And then on top of that curve, make another curve like this. And then we're going to put a curve on the ends like that. And that makes his eyebrows. Now we're going to make his mustache. And we're going to start a little bit under the nose like this, and then we're going to curve like a big sloppy laying down S like this. See how it's kind of like an S that's laying down? I'm going to go in the other direction and do the same thing. Yep, this one's a little shorter than that one, isn't it? That's okay. It's going to be all right. And then underneath, we're going to go bump, bump, just a few bumps, 2 or 3. And then make the end of it go up and touch the end of that lazy S. Bump, bump, bump. Now, we'll put that blue down for just a second and take red and make a little smile underneath there and make it thicker by adding a little bit and coloring it in. That might have been a nice spot to put a highlight too. Well, I already colored it red. If you do the drawing again later, you can make a little square of white, leave a little square of white on there, and it would give a highlight to that lip. Okay, now back to the blue. We're going to make put a dot just a little bit above where the eyebrows are, right there. And then we're going to go from that dot around and touch. Make sure it goes around like that a little bit. And from here, around and touch. Okay, now we can go ahead and fill in the color there, and color in the face. And be careful when you color. Every line that you draw, whether you're drawing it for an outline or if it's just a coloring line, it still has direction to it. You can see which way it's going. So you want your coloring lines to be going in nice directions for what you're coloring. You wouldn't want to be going all different ways because that wouldn't feel right. Sometimes it's okay for things to go all different ways if you're drawing something that can go all different ways, like tree branches or I don't know, stuff that would have many different directions in it. But you don't want to be looking at skin and trying to figure out what's going on there. Why is it all tangled? skin doesn't look too tangly. So you want it to be as smooth as it can possibly be. And since we're going around the top of an eye here, which would be kind of rounded, it's good to curve the coloring. It works out to curve it right there. And be careful when you get close to the other colors, because sometimes your crayon will pick up some of that other color and drag it in, and you won't notice it in the end, but even though you're not going to notice it, it's better not to have it in there as much as possible. So how are you doing so far? It's coming out good? I've drawn Santa with lots and lots of kids over the years, and they always come out really cute. Sometimes they start out and they're like, oh no, it doesn't look good, it doesn't look like yours. And it's okay if it doesn't look like mine. My own pictures don't look like my own pictures when I draw one and then I draw another one. So it's certainly okay if yours don't look like mine, because yours is yours. And every now and then I draw a picture that really is a bummer. It comes out awful and I don't like it. And that happens. I mean, sometimes it just happens. But I wouldn't give up on a picture until it's finished. You don't know how it's going to be when it's completely done. Sometimes a little something that's wrong might make you feel bad, but then in the end, you don't even notice that little wrong thing anymore. It gets completely forgotten with the rest of the picture. See, like right here, picked up some of that blue. It's kind of icky, but in the end, I don't even think I'll notice it anymore, because all of the other things in the picture will be part of it, and you just don't notice little things like that. I want to show you what I mean by sometimes my own picture doesn't even look like my own picture. Here's one picture of Santa that I drew. Here's another picture of Santa that I drew. Are they exactly alike? No, they're not. They're a little different from each other, but I like both of them. And so, if yours doesn't come out just like mine, it's okay. Yours is yours. Okay, here we go. Let's get some more things going on here. I'd say let's draw this beard. All right, in the beard, we're going to make some lines that kind of help us see hair. Well, white hair is hard to see on a white thing. So, white can be drawn a lot of times by drawing with light blue. Drawing blue over light blue, it's just a good color to make white. White has like a bluish shadow. So, right under Santa's lip here, we're going to make it a long, lazy S. And right here, we'll make another lazy S going this way. And another lazy S going this way. And with those lazy S's, we'll put some curlicues like this. You start out like you're going to make a 6, and then don't connect it. Just keep curling around. Now we go right here where the curve for the head is, and where it meets with the mustache, and we can just go like this. Make a wobbly. See, it's curves. We're going around those things that we already drew with a wobbly curving line that's going to meet up over here. Now, we're going to be drawing Santa's hat in a minute, the white part of his hat. But first, we're going to draw the little holly plant with the berries. And the reason we're going to draw that first is because it's showing on the front. It's showing in front of the furry hat. And you always draw the things that are in the front first. And you'll see why in a second. All right, so let's start with that. Let's make the 3 berries. 1 and 2 underneath. Okay. Then we're going to use a color called yellow-green. Now be careful, there's another one that's called green-yellow. Green-yellow is very, very light, and it's actually a yellow color that only has a little bit of green in it. And it doesn't work as well for some things as this one does. Yellow-green is light green. And we're going to make something that looks like, sort of like we were going to make an M, but we're going to make a curved line to do it. And go like that, like that. See how that looks like an M? Just make a few of those like that. And then over here we go back and we do it the same way, but we're going to make it like W's instead. And then we just let them meet like this on the end. And then you can color it. Be careful when you do this. Kind of sweep it, but make it go kind of up instead of dragging it, because if you drag it, you could make smears of color on your paper, and that won't be too good. All right, now this way we're going in the opposite direction. Kind of reminds me of an M or a bridge. And on the other side, you're going to go the other way, boing, boing, like bumps. And in the end, we're going to outline them in black. So, but you can also put some dark green in it. It kind of makes it pretty to have both greens in there. And then later we're going to go back and outline it with black. Okay. Now, next. Again with your blue. You're going to start right here on these parts, and you're going to go out a little bit like this, because we want to have a band on the hat that's kind of thick, a thick fuzzy band. So you come out and like this. Uh-oh. Look, I'm by those hollies. Now yours might be smaller, and you might not have to jump over them, but mine are in the way. I'm going to jump over them, and the reason I'm going to jump over them is because they need to stay in the front. And it's a lot easier to make something in the front first, because if I already drew the hat band, then there would be a hat band already drawn there, and it would have been hard to draw that in the front. That's why I drew that first, and I'm drawing the hat band second. Okay, now I want it to look a little fuzzy, so I'm going to put these little dots. I'm doing real easy, because if you bang them, they start to turn into big lines, and that's not as nice. And so I'm just very, very easily putting in some little dots, and it just makes it look fuzzy. Gotta go all over the place. You don't want them in rows, because fur doesn't stand in rows. It kind of goes all over. Now, the line on the edge is a little too smooth for something furry, so I'm going to make some little zigzags right on the line, close together, real close together, and not too zigzaggy, going this way and that way and this way and that way. You see how that kind of fuzzes up that line a little bit? That's all we want to do. We want to make the line look a little fuzzy. So go all along the edge of your furry line, doing like that. And then you could go along this side of it too. And then we get a little bit more of a feel for the fuzziness of it. Oh, excuse me. Anybody else have a cold right now? Seems like every winter I catch a cold. Okay. Now we're going to make his hat. Now the hat, if you Santa's head, we want we want to get the feel of Santa's head. It's round, okay? So we're going to follow the roundness of his head, and we start on this side. We start to go away from, a little bit farther away from the edge of it as we go. It depends on how your head is. My head's already high enough, but if your hat is low and your head doesn't look quite round, well, make it round by making your hat round. Follow a round shape of a hat going around Santa's head, and his hair is under there, and his head is under there, so you want to make sure it's round enough to catch all that. It's a red cloth hat, and it's going to come down on this side, and I'm going to jump over my beard. My beard's in the way. If your beard's not in the way, don't jump over it. And it's going to come down all the way to here. It's behind his beard, and come down in a point. Now, I'm going to show you what I mean about pictures looking different. Different from this one, isn't it? This one, the hat stayed outside the beard the whole way because it didn't make this beard as wide. Okay. On this one, the hat stuck out more on the side of the beard. So wherever yours lands is okay. What you want is to have the feel of that long stocking-like hat that's hanging down on the side of Santa's head. Now, we can color. Now, don't scribble all over when you color. You want your color lines. Your color lines are helping you feel that the hat's hanging down. So that's the way your color lines should go. Now, sometimes you might have to go in a little different direction to fill in something. But for the most part, you want your color lines to be going downward, like the hat. You see, like right here, I have to go this way to get in here and color that. It'd be really hard to go up and down there. But once I've got the shape of it in there, then I can go back to going up and down. Now, right here I went over a little bit on my beard, so I'll fix that by... that was indigo, that's not blue. What did I do with my blue? Is this it? Yeah, here it is. Okay. See, I'm going to go over that a little bit so that it kind of catches where I messed up there. You can't erase crayon, but you can scrape it off with your fingernail a little bit. Yeah. And since that side's dark, just to fix it, now you don't have to do this on yours because nothing bad happened on yours, it happened on mine. But I'm just going to make that side dark too so it doesn't look like that's too different from the other side. Okay. Back to the hat. Now, see what I mean? That it upset me when it first happened, but it's not a big deal, is it? Most little mistakes that happen in a picture are not really a big deal. Most of the time, you don't have to throw the whole picture away. You can just keep working on it, and it gets okay. All right, now. Here we go. So what will you do with your picture? Are you going to keep it? Or are you going to give it to someone like a Christmas card? My students would sometimes give them to their parents. Sometimes they would give them to their grandparents or a friend. Some of them left the pictures out for Santa Claus and Santa. took them, some of them, and kept them because he liked them so much. Sometimes Santa left them so that they could save them, just depended on what Santa felt like doing that day. I got this indigo crayon again, wrong one. I need the blue. A lot of kids did leave their picture with cookies for Santa to at least see. Sometimes, a few of the kids told me that Santa wrote a note and said that he liked the picture. I don't know. You'll have to let me know what happens. And some kids told me that after they learned how to draw Santa, that they taught their cousin how to draw Santa. So, okay, that wasn't very hard, was it? We just used a lot of things that we already knew how to do, put them together, and made a Santa out of it. Okay, let's do some darkening of some things. Let's outline Santa's eye. Oh, I didn't really want to do that first, but it'll be okay. Put just three. If you put too many, it will look more like Mrs. Claus than Mr. Claus. Okay, now before I outline the nose, I'm going to do this. I really wanted to do it before. If you haven't put your black on yet, you might want to wait. Let's put rosy cheeks on Santa. And we don't want him to look like a lady with fancy makeup on, but at the same time, when Santa's riding in the sleigh in the cold, like we were saying about his nose in the beginning, he's going to get pretty red in the face from the cold wind blowing on him, riding loose in that sleigh. So we're going to take the pink, and you just want to kind of let it blend in. You don't want to make two big round circles or anything. You just want to let it blend in. The top part of the curve, you make it darker, and then just kind of let it fade in with the rest underneath, like this. Okay, now that we got that, and if you draw it again, probably you should do that before you do the black, because you want to be careful not to get the black in the pink. And then you can go ahead and outline the nose. That makes it stand out more, and this lip. And you can outline your holly and your berries. The holly plant is used at Christmas time a lot. And the holly bush has little red berries on it like that. Okay, and then you can put the line down the middle. And the little lines on the leaf. And it still looks good to have those two different greens in there. Okay, now, next is the final touches. They take a few minutes, and you might feel like you're drawing forever, but you won't be drawing forever, I promise. You're going to put a line across the top, and then one on each side. And the bottom. And then you get green. Put some green in the corners. Okay, now we're going to put some lines, some diagonal lines. Diagonal, what are you talking about? Diagonal is a word that means slant. If you see lines that slant, those are diagonal lines. Okay, we're going to put diagonal lines that go all the way across like that. Makes it really pretty. And you need to take your time and do them carefully, because if you get too fast, then they start going all over the place. And it still looks pretty because it's green lines, but it's not as pretty as if you try to keep them a little even. Now, the first line we're going to draw is going to be the one that goes from this corner to this corner. Hey, but wait a minute, there's a big old Santa face in the middle of there. How are we going to do that? Well, the way I do it is I'll look at this corner, and I'll look at that corner, and I'll look at this corner, I'll look at that corner, and I do it in the air a few times just to practice. Now, what you don't want to do is put the line through Santa, so don't draw on Santa. Okay, so I'm going to see how it goes. It goes like this, it goes like this, it goes like this. Okay, so I got the feel for it. Now, I'm going to draw it. When I get to anything, I'm going to stop and jump over it. Well, I happen to just not touch that, but okay. Anything you touch that's part of your picture that you drew already, jump over it. So I'm going to jump over Santa. Now, while my hand is coming this way, I'm looking at this corner because that's where I'm going. And my eyes are looking at that corner. I'm heading for that corner. I'm heading for that corner. I'm over. I'm finished passing Santa now. And shoop, I could finish. Now look at that. We went right from one corner to the other. Now, we're going to use that line as a guide to do the rest of them. Now I'm going to go just a little ways away from it like this, and I'm going to try to stay even with that one. I'm going to go like that. I have a little bitty spot. You might not have this spot, so don't worry about it if you don't have it. Look, see, on this one I didn't have any such spot. On this one I did. See, there was a little spot where it had to pass through there. So on this one I have a little spot. You might not, but if you have one, you can let the line pass in that spot. Then right here we're going to follow this the same amount of space away, like that. Then over here, wow, I'm running out of places to be able to look at where my line is, but I can see over here. I'm going to keep making them the same distance apart. Over here, whoa, just got a little speck. So I'm going to do this side. Oh, here I can see it again. And then make sure when you do your line to go all the way to the beard or whatever part you're doing and touch it. That makes you be able to feel that the lines are behind Santa. If they're just stopping out in the air, they don't look like they're behind him. They look like you just drew lines near Santa. But if you go all the way up to Santa's beard and stop right on the edge of it, then it feels like those lines are behind it. Now, this one's a little scary because, like, where do I put this line? I can't see the other line, so I can see how far away to be. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw it next to this one for now because I can see. See how I can see where it is now. Then I can finish the rest, and it's easier. Now this seems like it's taking forever, doesn't it? But I promise you, it doesn't take forever. You want to be careful though, because that's what keeps it straighter if you're being careful. And in just a couple of minutes, it'll be done, even though it feels like forever. Excuse me. Wonder how many lines we're going to have on here. That's a lot of lines we're drawing. Kind of looks like wrapping paper or something, huh? Or peppermint, or spearmint, huh? These peppermints are in. Okay. Now, I find it easier to draw in this direction, so I'm going to turn my paper over and continue this way. And I like this. It makes a fun background, and you don't have to color in the whole thing because that really does take forever. Well, not really forever, but it does take a long time. And when you color in a whole background, all one color, you have to be very careful about what direction you color because it ends up looking scribbly sometimes. And I think this is more fun than a scribbly colored in background. Take your time. Don't go too fast. You want to keep them nice. And if they don't stay all nice and straight, it's okay. It's still pretty because it's green and white behind a nice red Santa. Okay, I'm done. Are you done? Okay. Now, all we have left to do is go ahead and finish off this red frame. I like to draw along the edge like that. It kind of keeps me in line. I don't go off the edge as much. You can go kind of fast here, but you don't want to go too fast because if you go too fast, you could put big globs of color somewhere you don't really want them. There we go. Find out which direction you're most comfortable coloring, and then just turn your page to that direction so that you can reach it the easiest way for you. For me, it's like this. See, like when I'm going like this, I'm not as comfortable as if I turn it like this. I can go faster and straighter when I do it in this direction. But you need to find out for yourself which way is most comfortable for you. Okay, now, oh, look at that, I forgot one spot. Now, here it is. We made a Santa, and we made it really easy out of things that we already knew how to draw. Does anybody have a Santa whose face is skinnier than mine? Did anybody have a face that's fatter than mine? Does anybody's beard look really long? Does anybody's beard look really wide? Whenever I used to do this in the classroom with lots of kids, the Santas had a lot of different looks, a lot of different personalities, but they were all Santa, and they were all really nice. Okay. Last thing that you need to do is to put your name and the date on the bottom. Or you can put it on the back if you want. But if you put it on the back, don't put it with a color that's too dark that it'll show through, because that can kind of mess up your picture. Not that your name isn't beautiful, but the shapes and the letters that make your name might not work with your drawing, might make it not look like Santa anymore if you could see it too much. So you want to make it either on the bottom or on the back in a light color. And I'm just going to put my name on the bottom. Don't write my name, write your name. And you see, it's not in the way when it's down there. Yet we could still see who made the picture. And I'm going to put the year 2015 because that's when I'm drawing it. If you draw it in another year, some other time, well, make sure you put that year on. And there you go. A picture of Santa. Wow. It really looks good. You could use it for Christmas cards if you printed it on a printing machine, or you could give it to someone special. There it is. Merry Christmas.